Hello everyone, and today we're going to watch a game of Garry Kasparov himself, the legend, and he was playing against Anatoly Karpov in the 1985 World Championship, and it is game number 16. And here, Garry Kasparov displayed a spectacular way to use the knight in order to dominate your opponent in the third or the sixth rank, like based on which opponent you are playing, either they are white or black, respectively. And he showed the power of a knight in the third rank during his game with the black pieces, and how the knight can be like extremely dangerous on such a position, and if this knight stays on for long, how much damage can it do to the opponent, not letting it breathe, not letting them breathe, not letting them move, and being a extremely frustrating way to completely destroy your opponent's piece movements anywhere, anyhow, and not letting them go anywhere. And how Garry Kasparov destroyed Karpov's whole structure using that knight, we are going to watch today with the game. Now, Garry Kasparov was playing as black pieces in the game number 16, and Karpov started with the move e4, and Garry Kasparov responds with the Sicilian defense c5, knight to f3, and e6. This is one of the standard openings played in the Sicilian defense. I think it's called as Taimanov variation, and then d4 is played, takes, and knight to c6, attacking the central knight, trying to ask question what to do with this knight. Karpov immediately answered with knight to b5, trying to take control of the weak square created in the center of the board, that is the d6, and Kasparov immediately fills it with the pawn itself on d6, and then c4, trying to create a Meroxybine style of pawn structure against Kasparov, and not letting d5 happen. In Sicilian, d5 is a very freeing move for black, and it is said that if black can get d5 anytime in the future in the Sicilian defense, then black will be completely fine and might be even better than white, as black will get all the development that black wants and not like get behind and lack in space a lot, which usually happens in the Sicilian defense. So we have to get going. So now the Meroxybine is on the board. Now knight to f6 by Garry, and knight to c3 by Karpov, protecting the e4 pawn. The knight came from the first rank, so it's knight 1 to c3. And now here I think Karpov made a slight positional error, because now his knights will be very passive, where Kasparov's knights will be extremely active in the center. Uh, let's see how. Now, first Kasparov tried to drive away this powerful knight on b5 with a6. Knight goes to a3, and now, as we discussed just before, that the d5 move is a freeing break. Kasparov anyways played the move d5, even though there were four attackers in the place. Karpov took with c pawn, e takes d5, e takes d5, and now knight to b4, attacking this pawn thrice in the center. And here it was definitely uh, like it's seeming like Kasparov is going to take this central knight and then go for an easy mass piece exchange and a draw at the end, and it would be a good game at the end of the day. But Kasparov was very clever. Garry Kasparov did not go for an obvious draw like situation in any kind of position. He was a fighter, and he displayed it immediately. After bishop to e2 by Karpov trying to castle the king away as center has opened up. You have to be very careful that whenever the center has opened up, there can be many attacks on the king brewing all over. So castling the king as soon as possible is the best way to go for in the immediate next set of rounds. So Kasparov played bishop to c5, and both castled immediately out of any kind of danger for the king. And now the game starts. The real game starts, and now we go for the move bishop to f3, trying to hold on to the pawn on d5. But this is a very bad idea by Karpov, as Garry Kasparov never had any intention of capturing that pawn, because he knows an isolated pawn in the center does nothing much but just sitting there. And he had different plans. He played bishop to f5, and I think the plan will be very clear soon, as bishop f5 makes a square for the knight on d4 to jump into the position of black's territory, which is the d3. And from here, the knight will be extremely dangerous. Karpov attacking the other knight, pinning it to the queen, and now just developing the rook towards the center. Queen comes up, and then c, and here he played the move b5. b5 is a very nice move by Kasparov, completely restricting these two knights towards in the position, not letting them move anywhere or any place, as completely cutting off their breathing squares ahead. And now you watch what happens after these two knights are cut off. We bring more firepower into the center of the board. And brings more pieces towards the center of the board, and tries to create more control over this passed pawn, which is the center of the board. But then Garry Kasparov unleashes this deadly combination of the knight and the bishop, trying to completely block off any kind of support for this central pawn. And not only that, taking control of the game from here onwards, trying to restrict white from movement whatsoever, not letting him go. So knight goes back. Kasparov didn't had a choice. Knight becomes extremely passive, and then we slowly start to push away any kind of like pieces that white can have in the black's territory. Bishop goes back, and then we restrict the pieces even more with pawn push. Knight goes towards the side, and knight on the side doesn't work that well. Bishop comes back, and bishop also attacks the central bishop. Rook comes in, and after here, this we push more and more pawns to take more center control or more space control towards all sides of the board. Black has control over all the sides of the board, the center, the king side, and even the queen side. And white is lacking more and more space as the time goes. Bishop captures, queen captures, and then f3, trying to break apart any kind of you can say it's g3, trying to not let the bishop like get trapped anywhere. And then after we get the knight back in order to get it to the center, galloping it towards the e5 square, and then supporting this knight. And it is a very nice game going on for Kasparov. Bishop goes back, and then we get the queen restricting even more, and there is shuffle around somewhere, and some pieces and pawns are gone. And after queen goes here, Karpov is not able to do much as lacking of space, and uh, Kasparov has taken full control over all the sides of the board. He can just do one thing, that is wait and watch what Kasparov does to him when he is lacking any kind of space control that Kasparov can give him. So we take the bishop back, trying to reinforce and not let the bishop die, as this bishop is the major supporter of this knight in the middle of the board. So the pawn is pushed, but this pawn is ineffective as nothing is supporting it from behind. The knight is guarding it with full force, and Kasparov doing the work of completely restricting white even more with this pawn push. The queen comes back. Karpov is clueless, unable to do anything much. King comes up, protecting the pawn, and after f3, we capture this pawn finally. And after f takes on g4, we just give a check. King goes in, and then we bring the knight, which was obviously there, and now it's trying to come up with the idea of jumping into the center and troubling the king even more in the future, and this will be deadly combination. Rook comes here, and knight anyway goes there, not even taking care of the knight which is on d3. And after queen takes on d3, now Kasparov shows his idea, knight to f2. And knight to f2 is a brilliant move, and sacrificing the knight. And after rook takes and bishop takes on queen, now Karpov is completely down a whole like whole queen. And after rook here trying to double attack the bishop, we bring the queen in for the attack. After rook takes bishop, we bring the rooks in into the attack, bringing more and more firepower to the vulnerable white king, which is open and is back ranked, cannot move. And if your rook takes the queen, then the problem is that black will get every bit of white pieces with check, and it will be GG's for uh, Karpov very soon. So taking the queen is deadly, and also the rook is extremely powerful on the back rank, trying to pressurize the rooks there. Knight comes back, supporting the rook, and queen takes the second rank, which is extremely dangerous. And knight comes in, protecting the second rank. Rook takes, knight takes, and finally the finishing blow, which is rook here. And here, obviously, Karpov resigned, as there is no way to stop any kind of checkmate threats that Garry Kasparov is posing, and a very nice and spectacular win by the legend himself, not giving any chance to the opponent. So you can see how a knight in the center, especially deep within the opponent's territory, can be extremely dangerous. And if your opponent is not careful, this knight will do a lot of damage and not let you move anywhere, not let you breathe. So this is how the power of knights being displayed in a fascinating fashion by Garry Kasparov, and this is how one should play with the knights as well. And that is it for today. And I think this game would give you a good lesson how the Octopus Knight. This is another title of the game, and how the Octopus Knight can be extremely dangerous. And we will get with another game on the nights very soon. So bye bye and take care.